Adam Schefter reported, Sean, that Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Devon Achane are expected to sign long-term extensions this offseason. It begs the question, should their teams invest in long-term contracts to retain all three? It's worth noting the high contracts at running back in terms of average annual value. Saquon is at 20.6. McCaffrey is at 19. Derrick Henry is at 15. Not a lot of these big-name running backs, after they've been given these contracts, it feels like are on Super Bowl contending teams at the very moment.
They are not.
In terms of production, Bijan, back-to-back 1,400-yard rushing seasons. He had 800 yards receiving last year. And in 2025, 12 total touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, back-to-back seasons, over 1,800 scrimmage yards and 18 total touchdowns, of having at least that. And then Achane had his first season over 1,000 yards rushing with 1,350. He's had 2 straight years of over 1,400 scrimmage yards and at least 12 touchdowns. The way that I look at this, I'm generally, I always kind of have a tough time of finding where I sit on if it's worth paying a running back. I think in the timelines of where these two teams have been and where they are, Gibbs deserves the contract and he needs to be paid because he's their best offensive player.
Yeah, that's saying a lot too.
Bijan is their best offensive player.
Agreed.
Maybe you could survive without Bijan, but if you're trying to ascend and get over the hump and you've just been that close, you can't get rid of a player of his caliber. Devon Achane needs to get traded. I mean, it's so serious. The stupidest thing that the Dolphins could do is throw a gigantic contract at a running back when the team is complete and total dog ass. Now, I'll give Achane credit with an awful, mega shit offensive line.
One of the worst.
He still managed to put up 1,300 yards rushing. He had an insane season. But for the love of God, trade the guy. Send him somewhere to a competing team that could use his services. See if you can get a day 2 pick for him. I don't know the running value for a running back that you have to then give an extension to, give him a gigantic contract. But for the love of God, I hate it when teams pretend that they can take on a contract like this and it could be a part of their rebuilding process. It's just like Breece Hall and the Jets. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
You earn the contract, but for the love of all God, don't waste your money on a position that is supposed to be reserved for getting paid when you are competing.
Yeah, paying the running back feels like trying to marry the stripper. Some guys can make it work. Most guys can't. And that's tough. And it's a really tough pill to swallow because I love the running back position. You love the running back position. Well, this is a show that loves and appreciates running backs. We want everything good to happen to running backs. I don't know why, and I disagree with how skewed the payment for wide receivers to running backs is, since now you can't get a good wide receiver after the age of 31 anyways. So I'm team pay Bijan. I'm team pay Gibbs. Achane's going to get a bag too. I think that if you're rebuilding now, you need the run game. I just can't see a team making big waves without it. I can't see Atlanta getting better without Bijan Robinson. And I can't see Detroit saying, man, I know Gibbs has been so good, but we could just draft another guy and be as good. I don't think you can. You just can't. So sometimes you got to swallow the pill. And this is, maybe it's completely hypocritical for what I was saying about Kelsey and then usage and ability on the field and impact on the game, but I think you pay a good running back and it appeases a lot of fans. I think it makes a lot of people happy if you have a great running back on your team like Bijan Robinson, who was one of the maybe 3 shining lights in my entire life, from September to December last year. Only one of the 3 positive things I could look to on a Monday morning and say, all right, well, at least I got Bijan in my life. At least I got that. So they deserve it. I think Gibbs and Bijan both crack 21 or 22, and whoever becomes the most paid is the most paid. You can make arguments for both of them to be. They're the 2 best young running backs in the league. I wouldn't be surprised if one of these idiot teams paid one of them $25 million. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, the thing
given the receiving value that they provide also.
The thing with both of them, arguably more than the thing with like McCaffrey fits into the bucket where his argument could have been made he's just an offensive player. He's an offensive weapon. You have to pay him because he's your best offensive player. The returns on that have been good, minus the fact that he has been banged up. But I think that for both of those players, with the increased usage of Bijan as a receiver, plain and simple, you have to. Yeah. You have to bring back your most highly impactful players. And longevity-wise, like these guys have stayed healthy. These guys have stayed relatively healthy and on the field. You have two teams, one with the Lions that was in the playoffs that got bounced out just because you had a really tough stretch.
Should
really
never happen, by the way, but it is what it is.
So tough schedule, couldn't stick in the playoffs, and you need to be able to get back there, and the way you get back there is with Gibbs. Retooling the offensive line is part of that process. The Falcons have been banging on the door, and a lot of their woes have come from coaching issues, and you hope that Stefanski gets more out of the team, and also Michael Penix being incredibly mid and mediocre and injury prone and all that stuff.
Kirk didn't help much either.
But Achane, there is no justification to give him because he's going to be, he would have to be argued to at least be making 15. He'd have to be argued to be making more than Derrick Henry.
I'd be comfortable
he's younger than Derrick Henry. But if you're a team like the Dolphins that is trying to navigate this rebuild and you're eating all of that money in dead cap money already.
Forget about that. Yeah.
That like what I just don't know what money they're going to actually use to give him this extension. I'm not a contract expert. Send him to a team that is going to appreciate him. It was a great pick. He was being a great player, but for the love of God, you got to look yourself in the mirror and understand. If you were willing to get rid of Waddle, you got to be willing to get rid of Achane.
Here's the thing. They're going to be paying a lot of rookies. There's going to be a lot of rookies over the next couple of years on that team. So they're like, well, we're only paying Malik Willis 20 to 25, either one of the two, over the next 3 years. Where else is the money going? We're not paying any of these dumb rookies. We might as well give it to the running back. Like if it came down to that, I'd think it made sense. But as something I often forget, they're paying Tua a king's ransom to get the F out of there. I can't believe Atlanta signed Tua.
Yeah, he knows Drake London's girlfriend's dad. That's a real positive team building measure.
I take it all back, man. Pay Gibbs $30 million a year, trade Bijan to the Saints, and then just do it now. I can't handle it.
I can't.
I am falling apart.
To watch Tua airmail a pass that just flutters and floats into the hands of a defender. After Bijan rips off a 25-yard gain, I can't wait for that to happen.
It's going to look like the Dolphins. The Atlanta Falcons are going to look like the Dolphins offense.
They are the Dolphins.
And they're going to, but they don't have Tyreek Hill and they don't have Waddle. They got Drake London, they got Kyle Pitts, and they got their own Devon Achane and Tua. Oh, don't forget Jahan Dotson, everybody. It's
a real championship roster. It's a real utterly championship.
Don't.
How is Jake Matthews still playing, by the way?
He's a Matthews, man. Everybody in the Clay Matthews is like, maybe he's like the black sheep of that family because he only played for like 10 years or 11 years. Remember he was on the Rams? That was weird.
That was weird.
But like Bruce Matthews played for like 18 years. Jake Matthews was drafted in like 2014. He's going into year 13. He's a freak. He's getting a little slower, which is pissing me off. But he's a
34-year-old tackle.
Dude, I see him like these holding calls. Here's the problem with the old tackle. The old tackle knows all the tricks, but these refs get a hard on for calling a hold on an outside zone play now more than I've ever seen in my life. I'm sure you were tracking last year. You're like, oh, that run went for 25 yards. There must have been a hold on the tackle. And offensive linemen hold all the time, but they're calling it all the time because now that's what they're looking at. If a run does well, there had to be a flag. That's what's been happening to Jake Matthews. He's been doing the same thing, and the games and the rules are changing. It's BS. Jake Matthews.
He's got an old fat guy.
Do you have a pool house I could live in, Mr. Matthews? You need to pick out those weeds? I got you.
I don't think he's taking you in.
Why not? We'd have a good time together.